Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for attending the Museum Advisory Board meeting on November the 12th, 2025 via Zoom. Thank you to Danielle for facilitating our meeting for us today. I'd like to call the meeting to order. My clock says 1:32. I'd like to start with approval of the agenda as circulated. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda? Thank you, Member Nielsen, and seconded by Member Ferguson. Thank you so much. Item number 4.1 is Advisory Board approve the minutes of August the 3rd.
Chair Boer, we need to call the question.
Oh, right. I always forget about that part. I always think once we voted, we're done. Anyway, all in favor of the agenda? Thank you, everyone. Before we go any further, I'd like to compliment Member Carson on her backdrop. Hers is much more attractive than mine. I love the colorful backdrop you have there, Janet. Thank you. Item 4.1. The Museum Advisory Board approved the minutes.
Point of order, Madam Chair, we need a declaration of pecuniary interest.
Oh, I'm always in too much of a hurry. Did you notice that? Anyway. Okay, number 3, declaration of pecuniary interest. That always means there's money exchanging hands, and we don't see much of the money here. So anyway, is there any pecuniary interest to be declared? There being none, we will move on to item number 4.1. Finally, we're going to maybe approve the minutes of the August the 13th, 2025 meeting that we had in person. It was lovely to see everybody in person, but today the weather is not so conducive to that type of meeting. So it's nice to be able to use this new method of meeting via Zoom where we can still see each other's faces. So motion to approve the minutes of August the 13th, 2025, please. So moved by Member Ferguson, seconded by Member Wickens. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. And 5.1 is our esteemed Curator's report. Welcome, Curator Whitehead. Nice to see you. Looking forward to your report. 5.1. Do we need a motion to accept his report or not till after he's actually presented it? Got to check here.
It's up to you.
Well, let's make a motion to receive Peter's report for information. Motion by Member Nielsen, seconded by Member Ferguson to receive it for information. Thank you. Please proceed, Peter.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen, I hope. Maybe. Oh my goodness.
You're just building anticipation, Peter.
I guess so. Why is this all of a sudden a problem?
Curator Whitehead, I can share if you'd like.
Can anyone see the screen yet?
Nope.
Wow. Oh, hold it. Victory?
That looks better.
There we go.
Ta-da.
There we go. So let's get going. As always, great to start the meeting with a review of attendance. We do it every time we all get together, and it's been a great 3 months since we've spoken. So our numbers for August totaled 279 guests through the museum, 204 adults, 75 youth guests. The month of September dropped down to 100, 76 and 24. It tends to traditionally drop once the summer is over and it's not as active. So it wasn't shocking that our numbers dropped down. They do, at least they have done every year that I've been at the museum. Then in October, we jumped back up to 124 guests. There's some rationale behind that, and we'll get to it, some things that drove attendance. But for that sample period, we had 503 guests through the museum. And if you compare that to last year, we had an increase of 60 guests over that period of time, 49 adults and 11 youth. So that has been trending every time that we've gotten together to speak about attendance. We've had an increase in attendance during that period of time, which is kind of nice. To date, so when we talk about attendance, I don't know if anybody recalls, but last year we came tantalizingly close to 1,500 guests. And it was just a numeric that popped into my head because of because we were so close to it that I generally hoped that we would achieve that number. We ended up at 1,460 official guests that had come into this space during the course of the year. This year to date, we are tantalizingly close to our entire attendance from last year, which is kind of lovely. So I'm guessing that if not this week, by the end of next week, we'll have matched last year's attendance totals, which gives us a month and a half to build on that, which is exciting. And I think that we can. There's some Christmas pieces coming up that we'll talk about in a bit. And then we talk about attendance factors. Flusherton Fling had a big contribution to our numbers. August the 9th, we were open on that Saturday. We had 104 total guests that came into the museum that day. We also had a visit from Grey County. So Grey County, it was a combination of ECDEV, people from the museum came to visit. I think they were just doing a site visit to see what exciting things there were that they could highlight in Grey County. It's the first time that they've come since I've been at the museum to visit. So we had 32 guests in total that day. We also had a nice donation from Grey County when they came to visit. But in particular, I think the one thing that really elevated our attendance numbers during the fling was Daryl Markowitz's visit. So he came and he did a live blacksmithing presentation just outside the side doors of the museum. So he was hammering away and making a lot of noise and a lot of smoke, but it also got a lot of people interested in what he was doing, and he was pushing people back in to see his display within the museum. Those funds weren't necessarily available within our museum budget. So it was one of those things that we brought up internally to economic development, and they're the ones that came forward and provided funds to pay for his demonstration that day. So a big thank you to our partners at ECDEV at Grey Highlands. It's a natural combination to support the museum, I think, for the economic or the social impact and the historical impact of what we were doing that day. So it worked out really well, and it absolutely bolstered our attendance from the year previous. This year, the other thing that we should point out, and I'm not sure who knows this and who does not know this, but we had a bit of a special guest come in September. We had Patty and Jennifer come. They're descendants of W.K. Flusher. I know this sounds pretty familiar because we did a fairly large presentation when Bruce Flusher came to visit previously. But these are our pals, Patty and Jennifer. Poor Patty had I think she was coming off a sprained arm or a broken arm. So we did almost the exact same thing that we did during our tour with Bruce Flusher. And they knew of Bruce's visit because they had gone to Edmonton for a family reunion, I think, or slash family birthday. And they shared with me a video of Bruce telling his entire family of his time in Flusherton. So don't think for a second that the hard work that we all put in to make that event run smoothly did not go unnoticed, because he talked to his family, maybe, I think the video was a good 10 or 15 minutes, where he actually elevated almost every building of notoriety within Flusherton suddenly came from W.K. Flusher. So he kind of pushed it a little bit more than reality, but that's okay because it was within family. So it was a lovely recap. And at that time, Jennifer was visiting from California. So the lady on the right of your photo, I think, with the peach shirt, she lives in California. She was in Edmonton visiting family, heard that, and it made her jump on a plane and fly to Toronto, left her husband behind, sadly, who was still camping there, and met up with her cousin, Patty, who lives in Toronto, and they came up. So very short notice of their arrival, But because we had done so much planning for Bruce's visit, it was easy to walk the village again with those two, do site visits. We had 2 books produced when Bruce came, so we gave them the second book. So we'll have to get another one produced just to put into our archives to keep for the future. But boy, were they impressed with such a quick turnaround and how much the village reflected their family. I think it's an incredibly important thing that we could work so well to put on a presentation that involved so many different levels, both our council and the library. So many vital pieces of our community came together to make that happen. And because of the planning involved, it was easy to do the secondary visit. So everyone should know that people are certainly talking about us and about the museum, not only because their family helped found a village in our municipality, but I will tell you, more and more people came in this year who had seen, for instance, the TVO documentary. That was a highlight for them, or a spark for them to come and visit the museum and visit the municipality. So lots of things that we did this year are falling into place to help drive our attendance numbers. That's why I think our attendance numbers are up. And looking at this photo now, I kind of miss seeing grass already. So that's sad. So I'm going to move on from a summer photo to talk about gallery updates. A lot of you have been in the museum recently, so you'll know what I'm about to talk about. But we had a very sizable donation. A chestnut canoe came into the museum. That was courtesy of Don. He came in. Don Tim's story with this canoe is pretty lengthy. The Chestnut Canoe Company was founded in the 1900s in New Brunswick. That canoe was purchased by the CBC in the mid-60s, and it was used in a show called Clahaney. I think it is Clarhaney. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. It ran from 67 to 72, and they were basically canoeing waterways of northern British Columbia. When that show ended, Don and a friend purchased this canoe from the production company. They used it to explore BC. When Don moved to Ontario, he moved to Eugenia. He actually sold his section of the canoe to his friend, who, when his friend passed away, gave it back to Don. And so it was shipped to Eugenia. And for the last, I think he's had it in Eugenia for about 15 years, but for about a decade, he pretty extensively explored Lake Eugenia and Irish Lake and Wilcox Lake, part of the Beaver Valley, the Beaver River. So it has a great story to be told, not because of just of its life in BC, but of the time spent here. So it's a very sizable piece that's sitting up top. It's one of the few places that we could envision putting it in the museum, because we are certainly running out of floor space. But it fits quite nicely there. The signage hanging there for people to read. It's one of those things, because it's a bright red piece, it does grab people's eyes and draw them up to the ceiling, because we're starting to utilize the ceiling more and more to tell our story, because again, of the shortage of space. But Don could have sold that canoe very easily for a fairly sizable amount of money. His wife was encouraging him to get it out of the garage. And instead of selling it, he decided to bring it to the museum. And I know he's come back to the museum at least once that I'm aware of, just to come and visit it, which is kind of cute. But it's a tremendous piece to bring into the museum. The other one talks about Talisman, and it just recently has gone up to the ceiling. And Stuart, if you're still sort of on the line, maybe you're best to talk, because the reason that these pieces are in this museum are thanks to Stuart. Stuart's the one who alerted me that there was a sale going on, and there would be elements from Talisman. So Stuart, if you want to jump on for a second and just say how you found out about the sale, because there were certainly a lot of pieces we could have chosen from.
Yes.
Stuart? Yeah.
The owners of what was the former, you might say, slide area, Grey Highlands, which was about a 50-acre parcel on the south side of 7A, and let's say bought that through an auction process, etc. And they have, let's say, now migrated, and they will become full-time residents. Both the husband actually was born in the area, and he happens, one of his hobbies is he happens to run Canadian Tire in Keswick. But they were having a garage sale, let's say, and I spotted it on Facebook, and I went down, and they had some things, and I said, "What would you like to donate to the museum?" And they said, "Well, why don't you come back with the curator, and we can look at a few things." So, Peter, this was one of the objects, was one of the tubes that was there, and I know you did work with our friends at Bernard's and got an inner tube put in it, and so it rests up there in memory of that particular part of exciting part of Talisman, because I remember taking my kids to that slide area, and they enjoyed many winter evenings there. So, and I know you have some more signs and things there, but it's a great piece of history.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it was a lovely addition. We have probably 4 additional signs that we can add to that display. The story is on that wall. As Stuart said, it's hard to describe that tube. It's kind of got a hard plastic shell in the bottom. It's plastic. It molds around it. It needs an inner tube to fill itself out to go down the hill without killing somebody. And as you said, our good friends at Bernard, when we went down, Bernard's Quality Cars found us an inner tube. Not only that, but Terry cleaned it because he felt bad that it was going to go in dirty. So he spent some time tidying it up. And again, it's just lovely that our community comes together to help us tell stories in this in this museum now, which is continuing to grow. In terms of archival acquisitions, although those are archival acquisitions, they're on display. But 2 pieces are, I think, very worthwhile to share, because we haven't put them up yet. But one is a Flusherton Council flag. So I don't know how many of you have seen this.
No.
It is not on display within the museum yet, but it was brought over by Frank Colton. So you can correct me again, whoever knows this story more accurately than me. But Frank, for sure, I believe, was on the council, the Flusherton Village Council, when it fell under Artemisia. And at that time, in the very last council meeting, Frank took it off the wall. It has had it at his house for quite a long time. It's obviously a sizable flag. It's almost 6 feet tall, I think. It's a big flag. It looks like we're a big supporter of early legalization of marijuana to me. For some reason, that flower just stands out to me as something that it is not. But anyway, it is a beautiful piece, and I think it's worthwhile sharing, because Frank, at the time when he came in, I said, as I often do, when was the last time that you were in the museum? And he said, well, it's been either it was never or it's been quite some time. Frank said he was not necessarily a big supporter of the museum while he was on council, putting money towards this facility. But I think the interesting thing is that somebody had suggested that he come back and visit the museum again. And he did, and he brought that. So he knew that it needed to be here. I just think it says a lot about all the hard work that we've done to make sure that everyone in this community understands that the stories are constantly changing. And when they have pieces that are really important to our municipality, this is logically the place that you would come and bring it. And obviously, it's hard to bring in larger pieces. We have essentially run out of archival space within the footprint of the museum itself. But if we can find large pieces like that and find a home for them, they'll continue to be brought, I hope, to the museum. I think it's a beautiful piece. I'm excited to find a home and tell that story. The other thing that just got added recently was a fruit press and assorted kitchen items. And again, so this came from Jenny specifically, but the Hanley Institute was doing a kitchen remodel. This was one of the pieces that they had up that just essentially decorated the kitchen. She didn't know what any of the pieces were, the history of those pieces. So it's always fun when they come in. You can spend a little bit of time trying to figure out their story within this space and within this community. So we have 4 different pieces that is out on display, this fruit press. But again, kudos to Jenny and thank you so much for her to physically bring those pieces in and know that the story could be told and should be told here about all of her elements that she brought in. In terms of new partnerships, this is maybe not a new partnership for the museum, but it's the first time that they've reached out in the time that I've been here. Home and Community Support Services, which is on the first floor of Grey Gables. They invited me to come and do a presentation first in September, where we talked about the history of Markdale. And then I've been invited to come back to do a presentation on the history of Flusherton. So to bring in artifacts, they're not a super communicative group. They're quite intent and interested in the stories that you're sharing. Absolutely. It takes a bit of pushing to get them to talk about their history here too. And those are little snippets of really personal moments within this community that are valuable to garner from them when we're there. So it's a lot of talking. It's not a lot of hands-on pieces because our archival pieces, we have to be incredibly careful with them. But it is nice to have pieces in place that you can bring, and it just sparks a memory, which is fantastic. So I hope it's the beginning of a long continuation working with them, because they're a fun group to work with. And then in terms of thank yous at the end, we always sort of go down a laundry list of thank yous. So we're going to start with Dane and Lorelei. They have come in and committed to opening this museum every second Sunday throughout the summer. And it's huge, because it just is nice on a weekend to see an open sign in front of this facility. I will show you a terrifying picture of Dane coming in for Halloween. So he did dress like a devil, and he did have a contract with him that you didn't have to sign, but he was soliciting, I think, your soul. But he did promise, was it eternal riches, Dane, or
Untold riches.
untold riches? So because I'm a fool, I signed the document, and he gave me a lottery ticket. And I'm happy to announce that on behalf of the museum, we won $4. So that went directly into the donation bin for the museum. So thank you to Dane. But he really does. He's such a tremendous supporter of this facility, and he does it physically by coming in. It's pretty special, and it was well noted by a lot of people in this municipality. Another thank you would be to Mike and Alistair. So we've talked about our volunteers. They come in once a week. They work in the archives. Mike is a retired teacher. Alistair is a retired, I think he was a nurse at Sick Kids in Toronto. They still continue to come in at least once a week and work in the back. It would be remiss to not thank them as kind of this wrap up of the year for the museum. They don't miss a beat. They've progressed the archives so far. It's really fantastic. And so we will be setting up a Christmas lunch with Mike and Alistair to thank them for their hard work. And then another thank you to Parks and Rec. And why would you be thanking Parks and Rec through the museum? They do so much for our facility. They will come in and clean up when we have any bit of vandalism in and around the park. They're incredibly attentive. And the one thing that they just did, and I'm sure everyone's noticed if you've driven by, is we finally got rid of that broken fence right by our parking space. And it took a while, but they're a busy group. But they came in, tore it up. It gives tremendous visual accentuation to our signage when you're driving southbound on 10. But it also just looks neater. And I know a lot of families came into the museum to thank me for taking down that fencing, because it was physically broken. And what happens in weather like we're suffering through right now with a lot of snowfall, when they plow our driveway, that the snow gets pushed into that fence, and every year they come in and kind of try to fix it, and then every year it gets ruined again just because of the amount of snow that they pushed against it. So right now that entire space is full of snow, so it's already happened, although it's raining still today, so hopefully most of it's melting. But it's such a visual huge difference. And then I think the next thing is to continue a conversation about the rest of the fencing and how we can make it a little bit prettier than the chain link fence that we have. But that's a big step forward for us. So so thanks to Park and Rec for that. And then we talk about the Friends of the Museum. Everyone will be aware that we're having the next talk is with Jeff Wilson. He's going to be talking about the history of Markdale. It's November the 20th. The presentation starts at 7 o'clock. Doors open at 6:30. The Friends of the Museum this year reached out to let us know that they would be making their donation that day. So it would be great for everybody to be there to have a photo and to thank them in person. It's $1,100 this year. That is their donation to the museum. There's a lot of ways that we can utilize those funds, and I think it's worth a conversation with you. I'd be open to having a conversation, but there's two things that spring to mind. It's additional signage next year when we're starting to promote the new Grey Highlands and Spires gallery installation outside, as well as perhaps flutter flags to put next to Highway 10, because when you do put the flag out by the highway as opposed to by the museum door, it actually does help attendance. It draws people in. I know it's something that Dane does every Sunday as he puts it out by the road. So if we did a series of more colorful pieces that are out there, it very well may help us. The other thing that's I thought we might be able to do both is when we have the days selected for the official opening of the Grey Highlands and Spires gallery display, is to hire or to pay for demonstrations that day from some of our artists. So we could do maybe some glass blowing, but some soap making or some perfume, like room spray pieces. So it would be nice to have an occasion besides the celebration of the physical opening of the gallery. It would be nice to have some of those artists here doing things at that time, but they should be, I think, rewarded fairly for their time. So thank you to the Friends of the Museum for their work all year long doing the speaker series events and this year's donation. Speaking of which, the Grey Highlands and Spires gallery opening, we still haven't selected, although it is officially done and it's open and lots of people are experiencing it. We haven't officially opened it. And I think anytime between the 12th and the 19th makes sense for my calendar. There's an early December sometime when I'm away. But I would, again, love to open the floor and see, because I don't want to pick a date where our board can't attend. I'd like at least a large percentage of you to be able to attend whatever day we select for that opening, just to encourage others to come and experience the museum. So again, it would be nice to do live demonstrations at that time. It just, I think, will make the day special. And again, so I guess the big thing is to thank everybody here. You know, this has been a really interesting year. Lots going on, lots of pressures outside of the museum and inside of the museum. We grew, we continue to grow. The one thing that we will be doing again this year is bringing in a Christmas tree. We've done it every year that I've been here, and we've invited people from the municipality to come and bring either pieces to decorate the tree that they've purchased within Grey Highlands or that they've made by hand. And I would say this year will be the first year that we will have more pieces that are not store-bought, but are donated to the museum. So I would encourage everyone to come in early December, bring an ornament for our Christmas tree, and make sure you tell others to do the same. It's always nice with the kind of the smell of pine in the museum. It brings people in, and I suspect December will be an incredibly busy month for us at the museum, and I have no reason to believe that we will not pretty quickly blow by last year's attendance numbers. So I'm pretty excited about this year, and I'm thankful to every one of you who helped step in this year when I was away for vacation or working on other projects for the municipality. I think each and every one of you spent and volunteered time this year to make sure that we weren't closed, and I truly appreciate it. So that is kind of my, I think, final report for 2025.
Thank you very, very much, Peter. That was very in-depth, but very, very well done. We've voted to receive the curator's report for information. And now we have our information. I guess we need an all in favor. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So that report is received. Item number 5.2 on our agenda is a plaque for the Barrel Turbine. I'd like to talk about that a little bit. The Barrel Turbine was donated by Daryl Markowitz, the young fella or younger fellow that Peter mentioned that did the blacksmith demonstration during the Flesherton Fling. So he had made the Barrel Turbine piece a few years prior, and after discussing things with Peter and stuff, decided that the museum might be a nice place to bring that forward. So our friend John Butler, who's a wonderful wordsmith, wrote up a lovely piece on the history of the Barrel Turbine and giving credit to Daryl Markowitz for the formation of it, etc. But I'd like to kind of praise John's words to put a plaque on the display itself so that the public, when they see it standing there in the parking lot, don't think, oh, well, that's just a piece of rusty metal, and oh, it makes a funny sound, and oh, maybe it moves a little bit or whatever, but they don't really understand the history behind it and why it was that type of thing was important to our community. Part of, and I'm not going to use the whole thing from John, but it says Daryl's sculpture is appropriate because it was inspired by one of the methods of powering early mills in Ontario. Unlike the water wheel, an alternative method of powering involved water flowing into a barrel-like structure where it turned a series of veins, and the upper portion of Daryl's sculpture is reminiscent of those veins. But in his sculpture, wind rather than water moves the veins. The bottom part of the sculpture is barrel-like and contains a spiral of polished metal that glints and flashes as the veins turn. So I think having an explanatory plaque on the Barrel Turbine, I think will be informative and helpful for people to understand why it's there and to make it feel more a piece of our museum area. So I'd like to ask permission to work with Peter to get the wording down for a plaque that we could, I have a plaque that I had made years ago now that is on the Agnes MacPhail quilt that's on the side of the museum, and I would probably go back to the same provider in Collingwood, and their company name escapes me, but it's a small plaque that's probably 12 by 12 or 14 by 14 with some wording on it. And I'd like to work with Peter to nail down sort of a pre-seed wording that would explain why the turbine is there and why it's important to our history. So I would like to ask the board to consider perhaps making a request to Peter that we could have that signage improved. So I'd like you to receive that information on the Barrel Turbine for information as well.
I think Member Wickens had a motion in mind.
Okay, if we could move that the advisory board receive the Barrel Turbine plaque discussion for information. Motion to receive, please.
I think Sharon might have been going a little further than that and just saying maybe we just recommend that Chair Boer work with Curator Whitehead to produce a plaque. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Yes.
So Member Ferguson has put a motion on the floor. A seconder, please. Seconded by Member Halliday. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. And now we're down to 5.3. The Grey Highlands Inspires Gallery. I have to give kudos to Peter for pulling several artists' work together. It really is inspiring. When I was doing my hours of volunteer service while Peter was away on vacation, the number of guests that commented on how well done that display was, and it wasn't complete when I was there in August, but I think it's complete now. But Peter had sent out a list of, I think, 10 different artists, a glass blower, and I can't read all the names, but Katie, I can't remember, a glass blower, a painter, a basket weaver, another painter, a blacksmith, a painter, a poet, a tinsmith, a candle maker. Like, they're all featured with their works there with a little personal story. And I think that when I was watching the visitors interact with those items on display, they were interested in the piece that the artist had produced, but they were also interested in kind of why the artist was in our area and why they felt drawn to that particular creativity. So I'd like to say kudos to Peter for pulling this Grey Highlands Inspires display together. And I guess we need to choose a date as to when we're going to have sort of a grand opening of it. And Peter has suggested between December the 12th and December the 19th of 2025. And I'm just reaching for my calendar here because I have no idea what I'm doing in mid-December here. And here I am looking at my calendar.
Chair Boer, if I may interject just for one moment, I know there was some discussion of the board attending the Grey Highlands Inspires opening, and I just want to remind the chair and the board of a procedural consideration that a quorum of the board should not be present. So up to 4 members could attend at the Grey Highlands Inspires opening. After 4, then that would be a meeting of the board. So just be mindful of that.
And maybe we could stagger our times when we attend. I hadn't thought about it becoming a meeting of the board. Member Nielsen, yes?
Thank you very much, Chair. I thank you to Danielle for mentioning that, but I would argue like going to a public event, as long as the board isn't discussing anything to do with moving business of the museum forward, it's a public event. So I think we can all be there. It's just being cautious to make sure that we don't bring up museum business or discuss anything that have to do with the museum operations.
Well,
Through the chair to Member Nielsen. Yep, I think that's fair as well, as long as the board members are mindful of that.
Okay, well, thank you for bringing that forward, Danielle. I hadn't considered that, but I think we can make a pact that we won't be discussing a museum business. We'll just be oohing and awing and admiring the work of the artists that are on exhibit and on display. Does anyone have a particular date anywhere from the 12th to the 19th that they're preferring?
Yes, Colleen.
Pardon me?
Yes, Stuart speaking.
Stuart, yes.
I'm suggesting the 19th, which is a Friday afternoon, maybe at 2 o'clock or whatever works for Peter there.
Okay, thank you very much, Stuart. 2 o'clock on the 19th of December works for me. Member Nielsen.
I might argue trying to do something after 5. Like, I know Peter's hours, but perhaps if we're doing something more along the lines of a grand opening, we can discuss with the curator whether he's open to having it be on like an after 5 o'clock thing where we can have a bit more hope to attract different audience members. And then that's just a thought. But if it came to that Friday, myself, I wouldn't be available. I was hoping for like a Tuesday, like one of the evenings. I think might work out well, but that's just my own calendar.
So you would prefer an evening opening as opposed to an afternoon opening?
I think if we're doing a grand opening regarding this, we would need to hear from the curator to see if he's has time available as well. I know the museum hours of operations are just business hours, but I'm just curious if like a Tuesday or Wednesday or even Thursday evening might work better, or even that Friday, with a hope to try to attract other people. Just putting it out there as a thought.
Thank you, Member Nielsen. Member Ferguson, you had a comment?
Thanks. Yes, Chair Boer. The It also occurs to me in light of that, though, Member Nielsen, that basically as soon as you're after hours, like if we're intending to do something outside where some of the artists are going to be doing live demonstrations, we need natural light. Like it's basically dark at 5. So doing anything after that is complicated, I guess.
Right. Curator Whitehead, did you have a comment?
Yeah, anything that's going to be done in terms of an activity would be done inside, number one. So it would be smaller things. Soap making doesn't have to be outside unless you get sloppy and start throwing something. So member Ferguson maybe can't be invited because we can't trust him. But it would be internal. I think the evening's fine. I sat the 12th to the 19th as a kind of a general numbers, just so we can make sure that everybody here picks a date, or hopefully can agree on a date that the most people can attend and not talk to each other. So maybe it's easier for me to send an email and everyone can just tell me what days you're available and we'll select. I don't know, but I'll leave it up to you. I picked the 12th to the 19th because I'm here and I will do anything for any of you that time. Doesn't matter what time of the day it is.
I appreciate that, Peter. So how about if we leave it that, oh, yes, Member Hutchison. You're muted, Harvey. If you could unmute your microphone. Harvey, can you unmute your microphone? There you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. So can we incorporate this into something like a Christmas event or something like that, or would that not work?
Oh, that would work for me, yes. Yeah, you think so, Peter? So we could have
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think by picking the end of December, I think we can celebrate Christmas for sure at the same time, the celebration of opening up this gallery space.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Ian.
Member Carson, yes.
Can we just pick a date right now? Like I'm saying Tuesday the 16th?
I'm good with Tuesday the 16th, but do we want to let Peter do a poll or do we want to choose it today? It is hard to coordinate a lot of people's calendars at once. I understand that. Peter, how do you feel about that?
If everyone here gives a thumbs up to the 16th, that works for me.
Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 thumbs up here. Yes, okay. Well, 16th works for me. Okay, I guess we're going to go with the 16th. Yes, Member Carson.
So we'll have food and coffee and things like that. So we'll bring food, like snacks or
I guess so.
what did the curator have in mind?
So the curator has a real aversion to food and beverages in the museum because
Okay.
although people never do it purposefully, if somebody spills a coffee on a display and apologizes while we're cleaning it, it's not super helpful. So I don't disagree that food and beverage would be a great thing to have. I just got to think about where we do it in the museum, but I don't disagree that would be a great thing to have. We just have to be careful.
So at what time do we want it? Like 5 p.m.?
No, we're going to do it during the day.
Oh, I thought
I'm thinking 2 till 5 or something like that,
2
rather
to
than
5. Yeah.
anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Stuart.
Question. Yeah, since Peter might want to invite the artists or some of the artists, etc. So a lot maybe will hinge on their availability. So
Right.
if he can pull something together on the 12th from 2 to 5, I have no problem. But it can be
On the
any one of the
16th, yeah.
16. Sorry.
On the 16th, yeah.
You know, but if he's inviting the artists, let's make sure we get the majority of artists out to that event. That's all.
Too true. Too true. So how about if we leave this, Member Wickens? Yes.
Well, will there be an email sent out 2 days prior? Because sometimes I forget.
Yes, no problem. We will remind you, dear. So how about if we leave it to Peter to coordinate what actual time it's going to be? We're thinking mid-afternoon to 2 to 5, but if the artist's availability is different, then Peter could adjust that time accordingly. Okay, but we'll go with the Tuesday, December the 16th at whatever time Peter wants to do this, okay? Thank you, everyone, for your input on the discussion as to the grand opening for the Grey Highlands Inspires. I look forward to having a celebration with everybody, including the artists. And I guess we're going to receive that for information as well. Motion to receive the discussion on Grey Highlands Inspires for information, please. Thank you, Member Ferguson, and the seconder. Member Wickens, thank you. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. So that's item number 5.3. 5.4 is raising awareness of new museum exhibits. It's been brought forward that we need to try and put our thinking caps on about how to inform the community about new exhibits such as the Grey Highlands Inspires. And I know we've had, I know Peter does some advertising on the website and on Facebook. But we don't have anything in the local newspaper or anything. John Butler has got what he calls a culture catcher newsletter that he sends out, which spreads the word about cultural events that are happening within our community. And he is wonderful to highlight things happening at the museum as well. Does anybody have any other suggestions as to ways we could bring things forward? Yes, Member Halliday.
Yeah, we do have a communications team at the head office, and they have a vehicle that they publish bi-weekly, which is called What's Happening. So I suggest that we utilize that. I'm sure they will allow us to be able to be part of that, or happening around that time or any time that we want to advertise for the museum. It was originally scheduled, to be an event, a calendar for our municipality. So I see this as an event and should be able to get on that system. The other thing is that at the events, I think it's a minimal cost. There's a coming events thing that you can use. A lot of people post to the coming events. I don't know whether it's $10 or whether it's free or not, but I know it's utilized extensively by the Friends of the Museum. All right, so that's a useful thing to have.
Two very good suggestions, Stuart. Thank you very much. Member Wickens.
So this may sound weird, but if information is sent to churches for it to go out in their weekly bulletins from all the churches around, you have a big encatchment of people that go to church but would be interested to know what's going on at the museum. I can get the information for it to be sent out.
Okay, those are two really good suggestions. How about if you both, do you have email addresses that you could email to Peter and myself that you could share with us?
Yeah, give me a day, but I'll have that and I'll send it to you.
Sure, that would be terrific. And Stuart, do you have a connection with, what did you call it? What's Happening?
Well, that's a municipal, through the municipal communications. So Peter has
communications. Okay.
has the direct access to that. So.
Okay. Well, I think those are good suggestions. Peter, do you have access through maybe economic development to the What's Happening newsletter or?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be through ECDEV. It is just physically reaching out to our communications people and letting them know that we have an event. Now that we have a date, I have to build an invitation, a digital invitation that we can share with everybody. And once that's done, we'll start sharing it. Okay,
that sounds terrific. And not just for this one particular event, but new exhibits at the museum and different happenings at the museum, that we'll continue to share that news just so it keeps the museum to the forefront of people's minds. Thank you, everyone, for your suggestions. So we'll receive the discussion on raising awareness of new museum exhibits for information. Motion to receive, please. Motion by Member Ferguson, seconded by Member Halliday. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. 5.5, extending museum opening hours. The opening hours have been 10 to 4, Monday to Friday, but I think there's been some success with having volunteers put their hands up for like every other Sunday, such as Dane and Lorelei were able to do during the summer. Thank you very, very much. I did go in a couple of times during Dane and Lorelei's tenure as guest curators, and there was a lot of enthusiasm and excitement, and both of them were very knowledgeable about different things within the museum, so it was nice to see. It's always wonderful to see a young person that's excited about history and like getting involved and learning more things about it, and then being excited to share the knowledge that they've learned on to others. So it was really nice to see Lorelei's excitement with that. But does the board have any other suggestions on how to extend hours? Yes, Member Halliday.
Well, let's say over the years that the museum has been opened, we've had we used to have summer students. So in fact, I remember one summer having 3 summer students, which I think was a little bit of overkill, but notwithstanding that, we've always had at least one summer student, let's say, now, while Peter was rebuilding it, we didn't have the budget. I don't know whether the Economic Development Department can help fund that kind of concept, but I believe that the museum provides a place to gather culture, most especially for people that are new to the area, and also for people that are passing through that maybe visit once, you may want to spend a lifetime, which was one of our taglines many years ago. Okay, so I just think that we need to think about getting some sort of small budget to allow a summer student. Now, the government usually, you apply for it, and the government usually gives a certain amount of grant, and then maybe you have to top it up a little bit, but it's really not a major expense. So I'd like to see us to consider that.
Thank you very much, Member Halliday. Any other suggestions on ways where we might think about extending the hours? Member Carson, did you have something? No. Okay, thank you.
See Member Wicken's hand.
Oh, Member Wicken, sorry.
Sorry about that. Is there any way we could try to approach the education system to see if there's a student that are looking at history, if they could not do some co-op hours with us?
Some of the summer students that we've had in the past have been students that were studying either museum curating or archaeology or those types of studies. So those are the sorts of people that we've had in the past as summer students, but I'd have to kind of research as to how to get well, number one, we'd need permission to have a summer student, and then we'd have to be able to advertise those jobs in those types of educational venues. Member Ferguson, you had a comment?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Even beyond co-op students, like doing it for credit, all high school students have to have 40 hours of community service in order to get their GEDs. So that could be an option. Maybe bringing that up with the guidance department at Grey Highlands and making that opportunity available. I'll also just say I'm also sort of happy to I think I've discussed with Curator Whitehead in past. I can do more volunteer shifts. I probably can't do weekly, but alternate Saturday afters or Sunday afternoons could work. So that's an option.
Okay, thank you very much, Member Ferguson. Like I said, I know that when I, as a board member, was volunteering during Curator Whitehead's summer vacation this year, it was very enjoyable to meet the public and see their excitement as to how well our displays and exhibits were curated and displayed. And more and more you hear, oh, I didn't really think this was, such a professional museum, but we do look professional. We do have a lot of history to exhibit. And I think as the years pass, through Curator Whitehead's skills and exhibits and format, it seems to just becoming more and more professional. And I think the word is spreading that like Mr. Colton came in with his flag and said, well, I haven't been here maybe ever, but I'm really glad I came, and here I have something for you. So I think as we build on those types of things within our community, and as Member Halliday mentioned, we have a lot of new people coming to our community. And to me, the museum is a natural place for them to start to learn about their new home, like sort of where it came from and how it began as a community. And I'd just like to continue to build on that type of thing. And I think if we have a little bit of a discussion, whether we do more volunteer hours or summer student hours or something like that, that would help the museum to stay open just a little bit longer, I think we'll just boost our numbers more. So thank you, everyone, for your suggestions. Oh, Member Wickens, yes.
Well, this is kind of off topic, but the one morning I was there at the museum doing my little part, my mom came in and she's 80, she just turned 85, and she went around all the displays and she said, I remember going to that parade. I remember going to that service. So I wonder if we could try something. I remember when, and of somebody's memory of that time, and that. Just something for Peter or whatever. But it was really neat. My mom said, oh, I forgot what that looked like. I remember those kind of drums. So that was what I thought. She actually really enjoyed it. Like, it was just them bringing back memories.
Okay, that's a great suggestion, Sharon. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so I guess we're going to say we've finished 5.5. So I'd like to motion, or somebody motion, that the Museum Advisory Board receive the extending museum opening hours for information. So moved by Member Ferguson, and a seconder. Seconded by Member Nielsen. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. And 5.6 is the Museum Advisory Board discuss local economy and pride of place discussion. The discussion we've just had previously, talking about our new members of our community coming into place. I think the museum is a natural place for them to start with their explorations of sort of what this new place is like. And our museum, I think, brings forward sort of the best of the pride of place things that we want to feature about our community. And if anybody has any other suggestions as to how we could enhance that, it would be appreciated. Yes, Member Halliday.
Well, in 2026, the Grey Highlands will be having its 25th anniversary, and I know Peter will be involved in that, and I think the community will be involved in celebrating the 25th anniversary of Grey Highlands. So I think the museum will become a much more focused place to visit during that time, especially for people that have moved, let's say, after the 2001, which I moved in before. So, but anybody moving in after that, may need an updating as to where they are, where we fit, and how much of a landmass. So a little bit of a historical thing, and that museum is the place to go. So I think Peter will be geared up to handle that, along with some other committee members for that year, for 2026 most particularly.
Thank you very much, Member Halliday. You're correct that the 25th anniversary of Grey Highlands is being celebrated during the year of 2026. So that would be a natural fit where we would have pride of place things from the past, pride of place things from the present, and maybe pride of place things that we'd like in the future to, kind of where we've been, where we are, and where we're going, that type of whether display or discussion that we could have for that year. So thank you very, very much. Does anyone else have anything to add to the discussion? So if we could have a motion to receive the local economy and pride of place discussion for information. Motion to receive, please. Thank you, Member Ferguson. And a seconder.
Well, I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we are down to item number 5.7. 2026 meeting schedule. I have a hard time. I just got used to writing 2025. And now we're going to be moving on to 2026. So the meeting schedule that is proposed is on the agenda to occur quarterly on the second Wednesday of the month at 1:30. Wednesday, February the 11th, 2026, Wednesday, May 13th, 2026, Wednesday, August the 12th, 2026. And that they schedule meetings to take place in person, 2 of the above dates and 2 in virtual. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we're talking about 2026 already, but here we go. Do those dates kind of fit everybody's schedule? And yes, Stuart.
Well, the election sort of creates a little bit of a challenge there. I think it's October the 26th. I was saying that the last quarter of the year isn't covered. I'm not sure whether or not there's some business that we could handle because in November as this committee will fall apart after that and be rescheduled under the new.
October 2026. Right. Okay,
Right.
Danielle, do you have a comment?
Thank you, Chair Boer. Through you to Member Halliday. Yes, that's correct. At this time, the meetings are not being scheduled beyond Election Day. So that's October 26, 2026. So you'll see there is a bit of a gap there. That's the reason for it.
Comment.
Yes, go ahead, Stuart Halliday.
Can the gap be filled by having an advisory committee meeting in November or December, or let's say in November, have Christmas in November, because our term of members of this board will end, I think, when at the end of at the new council takes place December the 1st, right? Danielle?
Thank you. Through you, Chair Boer, to Member Halliday. Yes, at this point, the inaugural meeting of council is scheduled to take place late November, with the first official meeting of council beginning early December. And at that meeting, there will be appointments made to the committees, advisory boards, task forces of council. So after that first meeting in December, then there would be a new board appointed. So probably during September and October, staff will be posting requests for application to interested parties for their expression of interest in participating in the committee. So this committee will be reappointed by the new council. So at this time, that's why there's no fourth meeting scheduled, because there will be a new committee appointed at that time.
Member Halliday.
Well, today is one day after Remembrance Day, so there will be a Remembrance Day next year. I was wondering why we couldn't schedule a meeting for November the 12th in 2026.
Member Nielsen.
So, the frank answer to that is, as of October 20th, this board doesn't exist.
We don't exist yet.
The members are removed from the board, and then the new members have to be appointed, right? So that's, I think, what Danielle's trying to say is this board cannot meet because the members of this board, our term ends. Same with the election. And so until we're reappointed, or whoever is going to be appointed to this board is done, the board can't meet. So that wouldn't happen until appointment would happen beginning of December. So probably first meeting of this group wouldn't happen until either late December or early January.
Member Halliday.
Okay, I didn't realize that, but I know when in 2018 committees met in November, and that the council your term of office doesn't end, or as a committee member doesn't end until the new council is sworn in.
Member Ferguson.
I'd like to make the motion that's presented, and that we meet in May and August in person at the municipal office.
Thank you very much, Member Ferguson. Do I have a seconder for Member Ferguson's? Seconded by Member Nielsen. All in favor? We will have to, I guess, could we add another meeting if we wanted to, Danielle, before the election at the August meeting? That would be my follow-up question.
Thank you through you, Chair Boer. I'll have to look into that and perhaps I can provide you an answer at a later date.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have our first 3 meetings of 2026 scheduled on the, officially scheduled on the board as per Member Ferguson's motion. And Danielle will check into whether we would be allowed to have another meeting prior to the election. If we require one, we could decide that. I'm going to say it either maybe the May meeting or the August meeting. So we've decided that the first meeting in February will be virtual. The second and third meeting will be in person at the municipal office. And the fourth meeting of 2026 is undecided at this point. So thank you everyone for your input. We're down to item number 6, members' privilege. Does anybody have anything that they would like to bring forward at this time? There being nothing, I'm going to say, oh, sorry, Member Halliday, yes?
There was a discussion at the last meeting about CMOG. Now, I don't know whether or not that's not in our hands, but it was mentioned. So I don't know whether staff will get back to us whether or not our position as an advisory committee needs any input into that decision.
Okay, thank you. I will leave that to Danielle, to our facilitator today, to see if there's any more input that the staff might require from the board. If there is, I will be in touch with everyone. There being no further business, motion to adjourn, please. Motion by Member Ferguson, seconded by Member Carson. Thank you everyone for your time today. I guess
All those in favor?
All in favor. Thank you, everyone. I guess we'll look for a email from Peter about the December Grey Highlands Inspires open.